how to install a 4-tap font. This is my old 2-tap, and I bought a 4-tap at Christmas time 6 months ago. Right, so I've just cleaned these beer lines, so there's no pressure left in here. Disconnected those. You're going to want to pull all this apart. I mean, if you've already built one of these, you'll know, but for those who don't, you'll need to undo all these. Main thing will be looking at putting a new one together. Undo these screws. Cool. So what you need to do is buy all the parts 6 months ago and lose them in the brew room. Halfway through that, we've started kitchen renovation, which completely stripped all of this and stripped the laundry. So under construction. Just cleaned some kegs out today. So far I found the beer line and the taps. And that's a bottle filler. Anyway, found the taps, some beer line. Just got to find the actual font. And there it is. Alright. Way. So we'll take a look at this. And you'll see the comparison. Wish I'd done this from the start. Bang. Look at that. Heaps bigger. It's like taller. It's gonna be heaps taller. Heaps fatter as well. I mean, look at that. Looks way better. So that basically covers the same. So yeah, if you're umming and ahhing about whether to buy a 2-tap just to get yourself under, get yourself started, buy one of these. Just block 2 of the holes up for now and just install your 2 taps on this. Then at a later date, that's not going in the rubbish. Or you can try to resell it, I suppose. But just buy one of these straight off the bat. Just get 1 tap. When you can afford it, buy the next tap, next tap, next tap. Anyway, let's look at putting this in. So when looking inside this, comes with foam all the way down. I actually custom made an extra bit of foam for this one, just to sit in the top like that. So I'll do something similar for this one. So to get these out, you get your 9-in-1 tool. It's good for all sorts of things. It's even got a beer opener on it. And then you just get that in there to undo these nuts. And this little knob here is for undoing the taps themselves. No, that little knob. That little knob is there. This is for undoing the taps. That's doing it up. Undoing them will be the other way. That's for doing those. So yeah, make sure you get yourself one of these. It's a bit of a mission to film one-handed, but can't be bothered setting up a tripod. So that's just one of those duotights, which is about an 8mm beer line, going into, I think it's a 6mm or 4mm. I'll double check. I'll put the parts in the description. But that just pops off there, and these are the nuts, and then that's the beer line. So you should know how these work. If you pull on this and pull against it, it's kind of like a Chinese finger trap. It'll pull out. That's another thing you can use. See, it's got all the weight on it. This tool here for, or use the bigger one. We're going to lose it. I'll pull up some slack. 1 second. So you can put that on like that. Pull on that. And then that. Whoop. See that? Releases it. This is the cheapest way I figured out how to make your gas work. Is just get 3 T's. And then have 3 connects off of that. And then going up out the back here has got one of these again. and then one of these quick connects. Then you can take your gas bottle and run around with it if you want to carbonate your fermenters or anything like that. Take it to a party. Your choice. A bit of PBW on that as well. Give that a clean. Right, so here's the tricky part. We have the screws are hidden in here. So stick this flange on here. Gasket. So I think we're just going to have to reach down from the top with a screwdriver and think skinny thoughts. Let's see how this goes. So obviously have those pointing to the front. Get our cold air up the middle. See if we can get these started. Might have to take the cold air line out. Actually. Take two. Let's get our hand down the middle. This hole. Oh, then it fell off. Oh well, she just fell down the middle. Alright. To be continued. There's the dilemma. You can see why I put this off for 6 months. Alright, stopped filming because my phone was pretty much going flat. I've chucked it on charge. I've got all three but the last one in. Found the best technique is to just get one screw in. Then you can lean it up like so. And you can have a look while you line up the next screw. Get it sort of started by hand. And then finish it off with a screwdriver. So you can sort of look down. There we go, so it's in the hole. Sort of get it started with your fingers. Once it's going to balance there, grab a screwdriver and then try and look at it, eye it up and get it on. Nice. So when putting those first few screws on, don't do them all the way up, just do them about 2 or 3 turns with the screwdriver. That way you can lean them up. See that one, I've only put one screw all the way in and now you can't lean it up to look at the others. So just give it a couple of turns so that the screw can't fall out, and then you can lean this around in a circle to line up the other holes. Chew! So I bought all new beer line, 12 meters, 4 millimeters internal, 8 millimeters external. Now I've cut that up into 4 3-meter lengths. My old taps were 2-meter lengths and they poured perfectly. However, when I had lagers and I wanted to run at like 12-15 psi, it caused a lot of foaming. So this may cause my ales to pour a lot more slowly at 10-12 psi, but it should give me a nicer lager, which I've sort of been getting into recently. Now what I've done is labelled, was just put tape around them. As you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that'll be tap 1, 2, 3, 4, so I know which one to unplug when I'm removing and changing kegs. Alright, we got one in there. It's one of the new taps. I also chucked the extra foam in from out of the old one, give it double insulation. See, now we get one of these, and that attaches to one of these, and that's the nut there that you undo. So go through that. So I'll just take this, the big end, make sure this is cut nice and square. I mean, that's not, but I know that'll be fine. It seals all the way up to there. Those just push together. sure you push it all the way in. And cool. Now we need the nut off of this. Pushes onto there, and then you go all the way in, and that locks itself in. This piece goes against there, so it doesn't fit that way, but around this way it pulls up nice and snug. So that needs to go on this end, and then this side's flat, so that goes on the nut side, so like that. So the smooth side goes on the nut side, nut goes on first, and then we're feeding that down. I'm doing number 4 now. We feed that down and out. Keep your hand on the nut and washer, and then you just push that piece in and then do the nut up using this 3-in-1 tool. Alright, so that's pushed on. Push it all the way in and then pull it back a little bit so you get that. I don't know if you can see it. There should be a gap a little bit here. You don't want that hard against, because you push that piece in to pull this piece out. So you always want to make sure that there's a gap there. I think you can get clips that'll go in there if you ever have them popping on and off. We're going to let go of that nut. Saved it. Cool, and then just get the nut started onto this thread. Use that tool. So that took heaps longer than I thought it should have. But anyway, so you don't want this gap in there, see, between the white bit and the font. So what you need to do is rotate the white washer so it sits in like this, and that'll give it heaps more thread to tighten up on, because the last thing you want is to finish it there, and in a couple of weeks time when you're using it, it'll all come loose on you. So yeah, make sure that's sitting in flush. And there, there's a little bit of a gap. You just do it up tight till that gap disappears. This one, it's still got a tiny gap. I just didn't want to over tighten it. So you just take this tool and just keep doing lots of half turns. Now I found it gets quite tight. Put your finger on the the little metal hose down here, and that'll stop it from spinning while you tighten the nut. Also, putting your finger in this hole while you're trying to get the nut on the thread started really helps. Cool, tight's just right, too tight's broken. Put your spring in. If you have a look at it, it's like a cone shape. So the fat end goes in the hole first. That's if you use these. One-handed bandit strikes again. Cool, and then that just pushes in there. The spring goes onto that little, if you can see it, this little black triangle piece, sort of like that. Cool, and that goes on there. Bang, and then you do this piece up onto it. Or can we do it wet, slippery fingers? Are we going into two-handed? So once you get it started, you can't actually rotate the tap. It's got some little, where have we got them? If we can see them here somewhere. It's got some little teeth that it lines up on, which stops it from rotating. So once they've engaged, you can no longer rotate this. So make sure you got it just the way you want before you tighten that up. And then you use this little notch down here. This one's the beer opener, or I like to use this one up here. That's the beer opener, I think. See this nice tiny little notch here, and then lefty tighty, righty loosey. Be real careful here because it's nice finished metal. You don't want to scratch it. If anything, that's the finished face. If you did, and that's a wrap. Just got to dig out a couple more of these for my beer lines. But we're all done. Now the bubble wrap that came with it, until I can find a bit more of this sort of foam that are lying around, that'll cut a nice circle to fit in here like that. I'm just going to stick some bubble wrap in the top. Not going too far, I still want to get the cold air coming up. You can see the pipe blowing the cold air up through there, you can feel it. So you don't want to completely fill this in, otherwise the air can't come up. So I'm just going to fill in that top with this for now. Just insulate it a little bit more. And bang. On we go. Phew. Now we just need to fill these kegs. Just put in a couple of beers, a lager and a New England IPA. This one's got Nottingham with it, and this one's the new Nova Lager yeast. Just trying it at 16 degrees. We'll see how that goes. Just pitched this probably 4 or 5 hours ago. Barely. A little bit of pressure's built up. Nothing from the Nottingham. Yep. Let's go. Better get the drip tray back. If you like beer, come check out how to make some. Woo!